3 of drawing every single day. Don't really have a plan. Again, I usually come in without a plan. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. Considering doing some scribble art. Now that I think of it, make a face possibly. I always found faces hard to draw for whatever reason, so I want to get good at it for my own sake, as a challenge. It's either not good at it, or faces are inherently hard to draw. Or I'm just picky, I'm not sure. Like I'm just, high expectations and whatnot. Either of those could be the case, but it's like an odd concept for a face to be like I don't know how to explain it. It's like a piece of clay with like bumps in it, and you gotta try and like draw the bumps. It's quite challenging for me. I know other people pick it up pretty easily. Like already I'm quite perplexed on what to add, but I'm just gonna ride the train and I'm gonna see where it goes. I'm not too caught up with this being like a final masterpiece or anything. It's called a scribble drawing for a reason. It's supposed to look a bit like a scribble. It's a good way to practice things that you aren't very good at as well, because it kind of takes away the expectation that it's supposed to be crisp. And it can still be crisp, it just takes a bit more time and you have to put effort into it. And usually if you put effort into it, you get better at the thing. So if you start out trying to make it crisp, and it doesn't end up being like that, then you get a bit discouraged, and tend to give up a bit easier without actually trying and seeing where you failed and learning. But inherently in art you can't fail, because it's art. So yeah, I mean, there's many different arguments in that area, but we will trudge on. I'm trying to do the nose here, but who knows how this nose will know. Nobody knows. I want to get the eyes closed, but now that I'm thinking about it, I'll probably still do them open. see what it will be. I'm not sure why I struggle so much with noses. It's not like it's a particularly hard shape, I think it's just the shading is very peculiar. Like, what? Like, the more I look at it, the more it... I don't know. The more it just kind of looks less like a face, the more I look at it. Which is quite an odd concept. Kind of just like morphs into values and that kind of stuff. It's like I'm not even seeing a face anymore, I'm just seeing like where I need to add values. Which I don't know if that's beneficial. I mean, I know it's beneficial for like for drawing, but is it beneficial for drawing? Because like, I don't want it to be a face. I don't want it to be a conglomeration. That word. I'm not even going to attempt it. Maybe the eyelids are too big. I'm trying to figure this out. There's another thing with drawing like female faces, is they wear makeup. So it's like, you gotta highlight specific areas more. Like the noses, they're usually brighter. And they highlight their own noses, so it's like you gotta respect the makeup, you know what I mean? You gotta pay the dues. Man, it just looks like a... it doesn't look like the eyes are closed, it just looks like a blind person, or like someone that's like been possessed. Because I haven't really... I don't know, it just kind of... That kind of just made me giggle a little bit. Because it doesn't really look like eyes... Like, you can either look at it as the eyes are closed, or you can look at it as like, this person doesn't have an iris and pupil. They're just a possessed human, or a blind person. And, yeah, I'm not sure if where I'm standing with that, but it doesn't matter. I'm gonna roll with it. I think I need to work on the lips a bit. Looking at it, I realise that there's an area. There we go. And the more I do portraits, the more I realise it's like less about actually drawing the facial features and more about like drawing the shadows and drawing the values. And it seems kind of counterintuitive to like not draw a nose or not to draw a face. But I think that's like the way it rolls. Like the forehead, you don't really need to touch that much because there's not much going on there. the nose, usually one side is shaded. The cheekbone has a bit of a divot, so you kind of colour that in. And then the lips as well. But I haven't drawn an ear yet. I should probably put an ear on this person. That would be polite of me. You know, not giving them possessed eyes is one thing, but not giving them an ear? No, that's just rude. That's just unthoughtful. No, it's all good. I'm still kind of tripping out about the eyes. Not entirely sure what to do with it. It's turned, almost masculine. But I'll put a bun in the top. Yeah, and I'll make it maybe a bit more feminine to insinuate that the hair's longer. And I think that might work out in my favour. Or in the favour of the artwork, I should say. It doesn't really matter if it works out in my favour or not. It's not really up to me. Yeah, that's okay. I'm kind of digging this the more I'm working on it. And all its character. Probably do with some more. I might just do another one. For the sake of the stream, do a portrait stream. Maybe I'll do this a couple times a week, where I just work on a head. I mean, I'm not gonna like teach you how to do it because I'm still learning myself, but I'm gonna like navigate it verbally, if that makes sense. So I like to do the Loomis. I mean, I didn't do it for this one, to be fair, but if I am going to like study a portrait, I use study very briefly because I don't really like study it. I just kind of like work on it. And I don't like to use the word study either because it seems like a boring kind of term. But it sounds a bit more professional, so I'll say that. But Loomis method, it's kind of a tried and true method, you know. It's been around. And I kind of like to put the jaw on the bottom because heads aren't circular. So kind of navigate my way through that a little bit. A good way to study heads is study skull shapes. Study the way a skull looks, because inherently that is what you're drawing, but just with a little bit of class and facial features. So, I mean, that's kind of what a skull's going to look like, right? I don't know if that's actually coming up on screen, but very lightly I drew the sockets for the eyes, the nose and the mouth, and the jaw. You know, I'm not a master at drawing skulls. Some people put a lot of time into drawing skulls, and I mean, it's pretty beneficial to understand the way a skull is shaped. And a good way to do that is to shave your own skull. That's one that I like to do. Shave your head and have a look at your own head. I mean, you don't have to go that. You can just look up videos. That's just my way of rationalizing me having a shaved head. Anyway, I'm taking a lot of time to do this. I've kind of been procrastinating because I don't know why I've been procrastinating, but the side here, so it's going to be more of a side-on point of view, it seems, where the neck's going to be here. I don't think it was going to be this side on, but the jaw probably isn't going to be this sharp. It's probably going to be a bit more rounded. And it's going to be a bit more like this. And then cheekbone comes in and out. A little bit like that. And I didn't choose the easiest direction. I tend to pick unusually difficult points of view for whatever reason, with the head tilts and whatnot. This guy's kind of looking a little bit to the side and down. Or female. We haven't really gotten to the point where we've distinguished gender. But I think there is a slight difference between skull shapes in male and female. I don't think it's very big, but you can have a look online and have a play with the different skull shapes. But inherently they're quite similar, so there's no reason to get caught up in trying to make the skull shape more feminine or masculine. You can just roll with it. And there is a bit of a divot at the top here. I know I kind of drew that. And it looks like it's not round, but if you feel at the top of your head at the base, towards the back, there's a bit of a divot. And I think at this angle it'll be visible. I don't know what it's called. I don't actually study the anatomy. I just kind of study the look of it. Probably would be helpful for me to know. But I think eventually I'll study a little bit more deeper for some good reasoning. Now this shape is not terrible, but it's not turning out the way I'd hope either. It's a little bit off kilter. And I don't like this line being so profound. So I'm going to try to narrow that in. But I think we can roll with the punches and put some facial features on this guy and see where it goes. We can see where it goes. Because it's good to spend a little bit of time and put a little bit of effort into it. But if it's not the be all end all, I'm not gonna carry too much weight on this drawing here. If it turns out good, it turns out good. If it turns out bad, it turns out bad. And it's not even really for me to say. It's kind of for other people to. I mean, I know there's a like industry standard or whatnot, but there's also expression of artistry as well that people tend to forget when they go into the deep dive into theory and techniques and things, and they forget to, express themselves a little bit. I think that's a pretty important thing. I think the bottom lip needs to be a bit more profound. And we have, I can keep working on this. I can work on the eyes a little bit more, make them look to the side a little bit. But you don't need to go crazy on the details if you're give them a bit of life there. But you don't need to go crazy on the details. If you're just doing a bit of practice or study, I like to call it play. Have a play with the ideas, because then you're not too caught up in like the boringness of it all, because it can get monotonous, and I tend to thrive in the play more than the monotony. So some people do thrive in the monotony, in the laying each brick at a time, and it is beneficial. I'll not doubt that, and I do it as well. But sometimes you gotta remember why you did something. And the reason that I started this was for the fun of it. To play in the ideas. And, yeah. So I'm gonna give him horns and wings and, you know, that kind of thing. But we're gonna do one more in this little corner here, I think. And they've actually both had the same head orientation, which is quite funny to me. I didn't mean to do it in the same. I think this guy's actually got a bit of a tilt towards the southeast, I guess. I don't know how you would explain it. This one's more, or just less of that tilt. I think this one we're going to go for almost like a side profile. And this is going to be a challenge for me. Because I don't do that very often. And once again, I'm just going to draw a skull, or the shape of a skull that roughly that I think of when I think of a skull. And it's good to do a couple, or have a brief idea of different orientations of a skull. You can get them online, like a skull, like 3D printed. I don't have one, but if that's a thing that you're quite invested in, drawing portraits, could be helpful. Skulls are bigger than you expect as well, so I always draw them a bit bigger and then shave them down a little bit. And also notice I'm using a pen. I'm not using pencil, I'm not erasing anything. And it's for good reason too. Like, if you're sitting there and you just erase and erase and erase and erase, you kind of get caught up in it a little bit and forget to not care, you know. And there's times to care and there's times to not care. And sometimes you just don't care, you know. It's not a bad thing. And if anything, you should train yourself to care less as well. I think as people who draw, or people who do any sort of artistic endeavour, have higher expectations or higher standards for themselves. So they'll sit there and then they'll rub out, and they'll go back and they'll rub out. But the more you rub out, actually it ruins the paper. So the more you rub out, the more you're actually ruining the drawing. So the quicker you can learn to just kind of roll with the punches, essentially, you can kind of like, you know, bell curve your whatever you're trying to learn. And at the moment, I'm trying to learn portraits. It's not my strong suit, as you can tell. But nonetheless, I'll do it openly in front of an audience. We can learn together, essentially, what things that we miss, things that common problems that we're going to run into along the journey of learning this skill. And I might make a dedicated portrait learning session or learning stream. I haven't actually broken up my stream into segments of kind of looks like a cyclops. I haven't actually broken up my stream into segments. It's kind of just like one thing of what I'm doing that session. I haven't put an ear in this guy either. Can we get an elf here? That's fun. Yeah, so I might break up the sessions and make it a bit more navigatable. Is that a word? Easier to navigate? Navigatable? Someone dictionary that for me. I like the everyday stream at the moment. It's a fun like task to hold myself to for whatever reason. I think the jaw actually connects behind the ear, or in like near the ear. Not the most anatomically correct skull we have here, but it's not terrible. I've seen worse. The Adam's apple there. Usually the neck has the muscles here, like the side of the neck, and then the throat here. That's the way I like to draw it. Like if I was to draw it up here, you have the esophagus, and then the neck muscles there. I mean, obviously, for a feminine person, you wouldn't do it that bulky. You maybe want to make it a little more slim. I mean, depends on the character you're drawing. Maybe it is a bulky feminine character, but yeah, I mean, that's the way I like to picture it, because that's the main. I mean, you can go in there and draw like the different muscles and stuff, but that's, if the light's cast down on it, you're not really going to see that. You're just probably going to see the esophagus and the side. I don't know what the name of the muscles are, but the side neck muscles are very easily seen on most people of most body index too. Most mass index people usually have a similar neck structure, but it does get to a point where there is a more fat storage in the neck, and then you got to draw it accordingly. But you still you still use the same theme of using the esophagus and the neck here, but you just draw it a little bit wider, or a little bit with some excess storage, I guess. But yeah, this is pretty much it for today's episode. We're not going to go too much more into it. The head does connect into the neck. Like there is a bit of the spinal cord coming up through into the head. Kind of like sits on like a totem pole. But yeah, I'm not going to go too crazy into the anatomy because I don't know it all that well myself. This is just it's just stuff that I've noticed when drawing. Yeah, so practice skulls if you want to learn portrait is the takeaway from this video. I also need to practice portraits more. We started off with the lady with the eyes closed that turned into more possessed demon lady. Moved on to similar angled head but bald and more regular skull shaped, and then almost like a cyclops elf, but I added in that little ridge line so it makes it a bit more less like a cyclops, more like a elf. Thank you, Symphony Money. Yeah, I've been trying to talk more in these episodes, but it's kind of like I don't have any degrees or anything, so it's like unfounded. I don't want to say unfounded confidence, because I have been working on this for a while, but it's also like I'm still learning myself, so any of the takeaways, don't take it as tried and true knowledge. It's just stuff that I've come across and stuff that I've noticed on the journey of trying to learn this craft. So yeah, I'm still in the entry phase, the amateur phase, but I am trying to talk more. And yeah, I'm trying to do it every day. I'm sure that would be more beneficial if I did do a course and have like set programming and stuff that I need to study, but I wouldn't find it enjoyable, and I probably wouldn't do it every day. So yeah, enjoy your drawing. Make sure you do it more, and have fun with it. You know, you don't have to be so strict with it. Put elf ears on this guy, that's not anatomically correct. The eyes closed turn into demonic eyes. I kind of just ran with that. I could have given no pupils, but I kind of find it more funny that there's no pupils. But yeah, I mean, just have a bit of fun with it. That's all. I think today, if you liked, leave a like, subscribe, all that jazz, rambunctiousness. Just kind of twirling my pen until I drop it. There it is. Yeah. Anyway, I'll see you tomorrow for the next episode on this journey towards